Uh, Hello, and welcome to Rampant Pyanodon Season 4, Episode 8. This episode was originally called Spring Cleaning because I was going to spend the entire episode doing a ton of small minor fixes and aesthetic changes, but I also decided that I was going to cram a ton of Caravan trash logistics in here as well, and they both kind of fit the theme, so I decided to just cram it all into one video. That way, especially next episode, we can finally kind of move forward. Hopefully we can move forward. I feel like most of the season so far has just been cleaning up a lot of problems, and in cleaning up the problems I create more problems, but whatever. What you see me doing in the background is a lot of stuff. A lot of it is damage from the splitters. Again, when Pi took away matter, I was using my matter as a do not pass for all my splitters, and when they took it away, suddenly everything could pass, and it was going into stuff that they didn't want to go to, or they shouldn't be going to. And here and there I'm doing spot fixes, like fixing military, and again, like some items are not being where they're supposed to do, and I'm just kind of cleaning up a lot of areas just to consolidate all the items into my new dumping grounds. Oh, also I'm having severe power issues again. Yeah, but anyways, we will press forward. The first minor fix I was going to implement was fixing this giant ugly curve. Even back in Season 1, I realized I'd made a mistake, but I was too lazy to move the Automation Science Pack. Then over time, the giant ugly curve just became more and more tumorous, and it just kept growing. And honestly, half the reason for rebuild and relocate, which was last episode, was to move the Automation Science Pack so that I could finally fix this curve. So let's throw it back to when I used to cast Harry Potter spells. Curvius Begonius. And there we go, all done. If we can zoom out here, looks really good. On the map, it looks like a much needed improvement. So I'm glad that's done. Next up, we're going to admire the Sushi Belt, and then after that, we're going to stop and admire the Clockwork mod as well, because it's been a while since I've walked through pure darkness. Here I need to prioritize tar. Military production has slowed down a little bit, so I'm going to start by prioritizing with tar. But I then soon realized that we had a ton of extra creosote as well, so I go up and use that as well and connect it up. Oh, that's actually tailings. Whoops. Whatever, I'll go ahead and prioritize the other military inputs anyways. And if we check the graph, that looks like we've improved the military production. Next up, let's work on only required metals go backwards. For example, I'm dragging aluminum plates back here, and they're used... They're never used from this splitter all the way over here. It seems like somehow I have two belts of copper plate and aluminum plate, so I'll just have to undo all this. Next up is steel. And next up, I don't even know how this happens. And this explains it even less. But let's get rid of the aluminum plates and only send down zinc. Okay, and one of my frontline turrets got promoted to general, so it's time to train someone new. And I guess while I'm here, I might as well piss all the biters off and make a really big wave. Next up, I clean up the belts over here because a lot has changed, so here's me going back and forth, showing the new and the old versions. And then also, because I was having power problems this whole time, I decided to add more fish turbines over here as well. I noticed that magazine production is backed up with tailings dust again, so I've extended that, and I fixed an issue to allow both ash and stacked ash from the assemblers in the magazine production. Next, I'm going to start working on stacking the Sushi Ore Belt. First thing I need to do is all my stacking here to ignore already stacked ores. Then I have to go through my entire base and make sure that the ore is stacked before joining the Sushi Ore Belt. This is because I want to extend the capacity of my Sushi Ore Belt, and this is a good way to do it. First, I'll start with doing iron oxide. And then no other ores really join the belt naturally. It's all through my ash recycling units. So I will build a new ore stacking sorter. And then after that, convert all of these inputs from our ash recycling units. And also fix some issues that this has caused down the line. And then we can design new dusters. I think I was just going to make a very simple duster system at the source of some areas so that if the backup is ever clogged, that we can just turn it into dust instead. For now, we're going to hold off on doing burners at the magazine production for the tailings dust, because apparently tailings dust is really valuable later on, so I'm just going to hold on to it for now. I also am not going to do anything for stone and Caravan because I'm not really sure what's going on with those two. But with that out of the way, we are basically done with a ton of stuff for this episode, and now we can move on to the bulk of what I wanted this episode to be: the expanded Caravan trash logistics system. Okay, so this is the expanded Caravan logistics system. Basically, I wanted to put everything into this system here, like have the Caravan take everything from my inventory, put it in here, and then have it sorted into this elaborate system. But I then realized that it didn't make any sense because then we'd have to drag the entire base over to this area. And the only thing at this place is the ores and the plates. So instead, I decided to make it just a place to collect all the ores and plates stacked and unstacked. We used the previous stacker design I had to take all the unstacked plates and stack them, and then also the unstacked ores and stack them. And then I go ahead and drag it over to the main bus here, and I prioritize the stuff that comes from the stackers. Here I am just testing a little bit to make sure everything is working properly. It takes a couple resets, but it's looking pretty good. The decoration is some of my favorite that I've ever done. There's iron oxide, there's asphalt, and the second I make a little bridge with some stone grid or concrete grid, and I think it looks really good. It's looking really good. The tiles that Pyanodon made look amazing, and I'm very excited to see how I can decorate even better in the future. So here we are in the real world, and here's a little time lapse of me draining. I had 3 deposits full of plates and ores, and I used this time to just kind of test it. And I don't really testing. I say testing, but I was really just mesmerized, staring at all this stuff because it's actually really cool. And then I do make a minor improvement here as well by assigning some of the spots to each of the ores and plates. That way it gets clogged a little bit less. But as you can see, it gets clogged up anyways. But yeah, up next, I'm going to create a couple more of these and place them around everywhere. Okay, so I was supposed to create a couple more of them and place them around everywhere, but I don't actually know what I want and what's getting clogged. So I made a new plan. The first part of my plan was to fix my auto trash so that it actually removes everything I don't want. This will be done by configuring my logistics configuration, and then whenever my inventory gets to full of random junk, I can click on this auto trash unrequested items button with auto off. And this will cause the new Caravan I've said to start removing everything from my inventory and placing it into this new main trash logistics bay. Okay, well, I spent a lot of time trying to make that work, but it simply wasn't working. So let's try again. In this test world now, this new design boasts a 175 item limit on the amount of items it's capable of sorting. So hopefully this will be enough until I make it to logistic spots. Once again, the items go from my inventory to this main trash logistics bay. Then I'll have my other caravan go around and take specific items from said logistics bay and distribute it to my other trash receptacles. I will be monitoring the main trash logistics bay, and if it ever gets too full of a certain item, clogging it, I'll create a corresponding trash receptacle somewhere else to consume it. The system is extremely scalable, and I'm quite proud of it. But it's not scalable to infinity, only to 175 items, but it's very scalable, and it's awesome. All that's left now is to port it, adjust some schedules, and then let it run. Look at my buddies go. They are running back and forth like champions, managing the trash in my inventory. I love it. But this brings us to the end of the episodes. I'd like to thank my patrons as always: John Boy, Ema, Sterling, Zark, Simple Angler Fish, and Hollow. Thank you guys, and I'll see you guys in the next episode.